Okay, so let's review a basic router configuration. Now, you see we've got a network laid out here where we have multiple routers, we've got multiple networks. This router is already configured, so is this one. Now, we're not going to talk through setting up routing yet. We're just going to go through a basic router config, and we're going to focus on this router, which is going to have three interfaces, and you can see the network IDs and the interface IDs scattered around over here on your network map. So this diagram, this network will be linked into the description of this video. So if you have Packet Tracer, you can download this particular Packet Tracer file and follow along. So let me go ahead and open up R1. I'm going to go to my CLI. Now, we have done absolutely nothing with this device yet. So, no, we don't want to do our system configuration dialog box. So, we're going to start by going to our privileged exec mode and then to global config. So, it's en config t. And then from here, we're going to start by setting our host name. So, the command is host name. I'm going to abbreviate it to host R1. I want to set a privileged exec mode password, so it's going to be enable secret, and we're going to use class for the password. And you'll notice I'm shortening these commands as we're typing them. I want to enable password encryption, so service password and dash encryption, and I could have shortened that one too. So let's set our passwords for our line and VT or our console and our VTY lines. So it's line con 0, password Cisco, and then we need to enforce a login. And then we're going to do line VTY 015, password Cisco, and login should already be enforced, but I tend to do it anyway just because I get in the habit. I did it on the previous one, so I just tend to type it without thinking about it. So that should set our passwords. Then let's set a login banner. So it's banner MOTD TD. Now, this should actually be done in global config mode, not line config mode. But what's going to happen is when I issue this command, the Cisco iOS is going to realize it should be a global config mode, and it's going to kick me out to global config and execute it. So banner MOTD, and I'm just going to do really basic, authorized, maybe, authorized, there we go, access only, exclamation point, and then close quote. And see, it kicked me out of line config back to my global config. Okay, so that sets my passwords, it sets my security, it sets my encryption, and it gives me the banner. So I'm going to type do show run just to see what we've got so far. So here's our host name, here's our enable secret, and then as we scroll on down through here, we haven't configured our interfaces yet, but we have configured our banner, our line password, and our VTY passwords. So all that's looking great. Now let's look at configuring our IP addresses. Now this is infinitely easier if you have a network map. So I'll slide this over here so I can see my network diagram over here, or my network map. So I've got three interfaces, and I'm going to start with these two. We'll worry about the serial interface in a minute. So I'm going to go to, I'm already in global config. I'm going to go into interface G00. And here I've got a network, and my interface on that is .1. So it's going to be IP add 10.0.1.0 or .1 for my little interface over here is .1. And since this is /24, it's going to be 255.255.255.0. And then I'm going to set my IPv6 address. So that's just IPv6 address, and this is right here, 2001 colon db8 colon ac80 colon 1 colon 1/64, and the colon 1 here is going to be my interface ID. Now I also want to set, and this, not everybody does this all the time, I like to set the link local address as well. So I'm going to add my link local address, IPv6 add FE80 ::1 because it's router 1, so I'm just going to call it ::1. And then I'm going to identify it as link-local. Okay, last but not least, I want to set a description on this. So I'm going to make a real generic description, link to LAN 1. And then last but not least, we need to bring it up. So we issue the command no shutdown. Now let's do the same thing to G01. So interface G01, IP add 10.0.2.1, 255.255.255.0. IPv6 address is going to be 2001 colon db8 colon acad colon 2 ::1/64. And then our description here, DSC, not DESK, link to LAN 2. And no shutdown. Okay, let's do a quick do show IP interface brief. And for this, I want to go ahead and maximize my screen so it looks better. And there are my addresses. They look correct, up and up. Okay, everything looks great. Now, this doesn't show me my IPv6 addresses. For that, it's do show IPv6 interface brief. And I forgot to set my link local address on G01. So, I'm still on my G01 interface, so IPv6 address, undo the caps lock, FE80 ::1. Remember, I can reuse the same thing because link locals are not routable. Link-local. Okay, there we go. We should be all set as far as those IP addresses. Now, we haven't dealt with this interface yet, which is on S011. So let's do that. Interface S0-1-1. And let's set the description first because that I can think of without having to look at it. So description, and we're going to call this our WAN link. Now, we're going to set the IP address, IP add, and if we bring it down here, we'll see that this is supposed to be 10.0.3.0.1. So, IP add 10.0.3.0 or 3.1, 255.255.255.0. Now, our IPv6 address is supposed to be 2001 db8 acad 3 ::1. So IPv6 add 2001 db8 acad 3 ::1/64. And then our link local address, IPv6 add FE80 ::1 link local. And last but not least, no shutdown. All right, end and copy, run, start. Now let's take a look and see what we've got. Show IPv6 interface brief. Let's try that without a space. Hey, there we go. That looks better. All right, we have our IP addresses. Now, we haven't set our IP addresses on the PCs yet. So we're going to set that real quick, and then we're going to test this. So I'm going to go to this PC, desktop, IP, and it has an IP address of 192.168.3.10. with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0 and a default gateway of 192. Actually, I just typed in the wrong thing. My gosh, force of habit. 10.0.3.1 or 10 with a default gateway of 10.0.3.1. That'll work a whole lot better. Let's set our IPv6 address. 2001. Now this is going to be the global Unicast. 2001 db8 ACAD colon 1 colon 10/64. Now, on PCs like this, I tend not to set the link local address. Microsoft Windows devices will automatically cycle their addresses every now and then anyway, so I mean, unless you overwrite it. But really, the only reason you want to set a link local address and specify what it is rather than using the EUI64 or Microsoft's weird mechanism for cycling them, the only reason you really want to do that is if you are going to be connecting to the device. So I'm not going to worry about that because I'm not going to be using that address for anything. So I'm just going to set my IPv6 gateway. Now, I'm going to set my gateway to the link local address. So there's a couple of things here. One is way less typing for me, and I'm a big fan of that. The other is that gives me the ability to change my global unicast addresses, like if I switched ISPs or something, without having to redo all of my gateways. So I'm going to do FE80 colon 1. And that should save my IPv6 address information. So let's go to our other PC over here. I just thought of something else I forgot to do on the router. We'll fix that in a minute. 10.0.2.10. 255.255.255.0 for the subnet mask, default gateway 10.0.2.1. Set our IPv6 addresses 2001 db8 db8 ACAD 2 10/64. And the IPv6 gateway FE80 1. Okay, let's see if this works. So I'm going to go to my command prompt and we're going to start out with our IPv4. So I'm going to ping 10.0.1.10 and we're going to see if it pings through. First one should time out because of ARP. And now it looks like we have a problem. Cool, troubleshooting time. So I'm going to start by looking at my IP config and seeing that I have 2.10 and 2.1 is my gateway. So let me see if I can ping my gateway. 10.0.2.1. I can ping my gateway. Can I ping the other side of my gateway, which should be 10.0.1.1? I can ping that. Okay, I just can't ping my PC at 10.0.1.10. Yep, that one's still timing out for me. Okay, so let me close this while it continues to ping. So we were able to ping here, we were able to ping here, but we couldn't ping here. So let's start troubleshooting over here. And we'll go to command prompt. That'll be a good place to start because this is what we'd actually do in real life. ipconfig. And don't ask me why I put 3 in there instead of 1, but that would create a problem. So let's go back to our desktop and let me fix the IP addresses. And this might actually make it work much, much better. 10.0.1, not .3. Okay, command prompt. Let's try it from this side now. Ping 10.0.2.10. And hey, there we go. We are working perfectly. However, we're working perfectly with IPv4. Doesn't mean we're working perfectly with IPv6. Let's take a look at that. Ping 2001 db8 ACAD 2 10. And we are getting request timed out. That's not a good thing. Now remember we set the default gateway to FE80 1. So let's ping FE80 1, which is our link local. And that replies. Now we can also ping the global unicast address. It would be 2001 ACAD. No, it would be db8 ACAD colon 1 colon colon 1. And we can ping that as well. So can we ping the other side, which would be 2 colon colon 1? And it looks like we can ping that side as well. But we can't ping 2 colon colon 10. Okay. So let's try from here and see what we have. By the way, I know what the issue is. I just want to walk through the troubleshooting process with you just so you can see it. So here I'm going to ping FE80 colon colon 1, which remember is my router. Now I can also ping the link local address side here, ping 2001, or not the link local, the global unicast, colon DB8 colon ACAD colon 2 colon colon 1. And that works. Can we ping the far side of the router? And that works, which means both PCs can ping either side of the router, but they can't ping each other. Why not? Well, there's actually a very good reason for it. That's going to be on our router. So I'm going to come to the router. We'll go full screen here, and we're going to do a show running config. Now, one of the issues with Cisco routers, and it's not necessarily an issue, it's just a thing, is that by default they don't have IPv6 unicast routing enabled. In fact, the IPv6 unicast routing should be up here at the top of the config, and we don't see it. So I'm going to go to config T. I'm going to issue the command IPv6 UNI for unicast routing. I'm going to exit out and show run, and right there under the no IPCEF you see IPv6 unicast routing is now enabled. Now anytime we go to route IPv6 addresses through a Cisco router, we need to do that. I'm going to go back to my PC1, and now let me try to ping 2001 DB8 ACAD2 colon colon 10, and it works perfectly. So anytime you see that, I've got IPv6 configured, I can ping my router, I can ping the far side of my router, but I can't ping anybody beyond it. Very often it's because IPv6 unicast routing hasn't been enabled. Okay, we have done our basic config and everything is working perfectly. So we are going to copy, run, start, save our configuration, and we have just taken a router through a basic configuration.